you have talked to so many companies in the modular space and obviously clients too. What's the big hurdle? I'm sure there are lots of hurdles, but the big hurdle that you see in kind of educating clients on the importance of adopting modular construction? What's the
Yeah.
hesitation?
Well, I think, you could say it's easy to say it's mindset, but really every product has to go through an adoption, natural progression.
Yeah.
And
It's
so you
painful
always have
and
your,
messy, and people are
exactly. So you have your
expensive.
visionaries and you have your early adopters, and then you have your early majority, and there's certain things that have to make that happen. For instance, when you look at different things like glulam beams or engineered wood products, those things were moving very slowly until there was a resin breakthrough to make something that was weather resistant, so that those products wouldn't have to be completely covered during construction to keep them dry. So that was a huge catalyst, and it was able to be used. Now it's very ubiquitous. And so everything needs a catalyst, and it needs a progression of credibility. So you need all those case studies, you need all the documentation and testing and all those things, so that there's a high level of trust. Even if a lot of these modes have been around for a long time, like wood frame volumetric, it still hasn't really progressed beyond a very fractional percentage of the market share, especially in residential. So what will it take to get there is the adoption of certain code aspects, the way that capital is structured, because one of the big challenges is, in order to get something made modular, oftentimes, almost all the time, the developer has to prepay for everything before it even leaves the factory. So you might have, $3 or $4 million sitting out there before anything reaches the job site. So that's the financing is the challenge. But fortunately, there are new financial vehicles and other things like that being innovated to make room to add and give lift to modular and offsite. And I think it's really making a difference. The new ICC code that Modular Building Institute collaborated on, that's another thing, that's a templatized code book to really help developers and architects and code officials get their arms around prescriptive construction for modular applications. Those are some of the things that have held back the industry. And the some things that are helping it is this kind of maybe change in how the capital stack is structured. There's a change in that adoption and of code and the ability to do in-factory third-party inspections and kind of more acceptance of that, especially during COVID. So that COVID actually helped that.
I was just going to say that. I mean, as bad as and as painful as the last 2 years have been for the construction industry, it has encouraged them to look at alternatives and start taking more risks and seeing what else is out there, and them realizing that we can't keep doing things the same way. Something has to change because the whole system was so fragile. And I feel like everyone is suddenly accepting of modular, accepting of new materials and new ways of building.